Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. I'm your host, Paul Sannem, and I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. My guest today is Alannah Silva from BoxBrownie. That isn't something you're going to order online. Just kidding. So I've used these guys are amazing. This is something I didn't know about literally until I heard rumors, but I didn't know about it until I actually used it. And it's amazing. So Alannah, why don't you tell the audience what you do and who you do it for?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So boxbrownie.com is a world leader in visual property marketing. So that's a big title, and I do think we can live up to it. But what we do is we specialize in the imagery that builders, real estate agent, vacation rentals, property managers, really anyone that's trying to sell a house or market a property in any way. So that could be something as simple as you've taken a photo yourself or you've got some photos done and you want some simple image enhancements. It could be the furniture's not that great and you want to replace it with some virtual staging, right up until 3D renders. If the property hasn't been built and you've got the CAD files, we can also create them. So really anything you need or any marketing material, whether it's for your MLS listing, whether it's for your website or your social media, we should be kind of a stop along the journey to get it marketed.
Now, I use users. I have a piece of property I'm selling in um, Palm Springs, and the pictures, they had a professional photographer come in and was like, "Yeah, my wife, but these aren't that great." And so we had her enhance those pictures, and it's amazing. I mean, it's like, oh my God, can you really do that? So he took the whole back patio and rearranged all the furniture, put new furniture in it, cleaned up everything, made it look bigger. It's like, oh my God, it's an amazing new house. So the technology is incredible. So they can take your basic picture. Can it be taken on an iPhone or have to be taken with professional photography?
That's a great question. So we kind of work through you guys supply us the photos. So it could be you've gotten the photos from your photographer, it could be you've taken them yourselves. We also have this incredible iPhone app called SnapSnap that actually does the HDR bracketing you'd find on your photographer's camera on your iPhone through this app. So it's elevating the kind of iPhone quality photo. iPhones have great technology in how they take photos, but sometimes the camera can get a little bit confused on the light source, especially if there is a big window there with a bunch of light coming in. It doesn't know what to focus on. So HDR bracketing is going to make it way easier for our editors because it's going to give every light source. We can edit it together. So we're basically taking that iPhone photo up a level to make it almost as good as your photographer's photo, or sometimes better. And then we can go from there. So in your case, we were able to take the photos that you got from your photographer, and then we were able to remove the furniture digitally and then restage it. So really, as long as you can supply us a photo, we can work with it.
So what's amazing to me, and I've dealt with this for years with contractors, is they'll do a remodel, and before they take the pictures, somebody moves their cat and dog and whatever, all their old stuff in, and it never looks as good as it was supposed to look in the picture. Or
Yes.
they'll build a house and they can't, it isn't quite the way they want to look at it. And unfortunately, we are totally in a vision-based society where it makes decisions on the pictures you have on their phone or the internet. Good pictures, you're going to sell it. Bad pictures, you won't sell. Whatever it is, I don't know if it's a remodel or whatever. And I'm thinking images are so important for websites, for people that are going to build houses, that kind of thing, that the cost is nominal. I was surprised how expensive. I mean, what do you cost to doctor a photo? What does it normally cost?
Yeah, so it really kind of depends what you need. So in a case of a virtual remodeling, or even the case of you're building this house and you don't have time to get a photographer out there before you know the family moves in, etc. There's different ways of doing it. So in case of you just want to take a photo and get it to look like what you see in real life because there's a mismatch there, it's going to be $1.60 US per photo. So a simple image enhancement goes through a 17-step editing process. It's just going to be $1.60 per photo. If you want to virtually stage, it's going to be 24 US per photo. If you just need to input the furniture, so if you've got some inventory homes or it's a new build and you don't have to remove anything. But then if there's in case of your house, it was already furnished. So we digitally removed everything and then we restaged. So item removal is $8, virtual staging is 24, so it'd be 32 per image. And then we also have a virtual remodeling tool, which is really handy if you've got a client who doesn't really understand the vision. So, you're like, this is what I want to do. And there's that disconnect between what you're thinking and what they're kind of understanding and seeing. Little fun fact of everyone, 90% of the population cannot walk into a space and then imagine it in a different light. So if you have a remodeling client and they're just not understanding it, they're actually part of the majority, right? So our virtual remodeling can be anything from fixing the floors to redoing the entire room. We've got some great examples on our website, which I highly recommend checking out, just because the capabilities in that one is incredible. But it can range in price from $16 up to $180, depending what you want to do. So virtual remodeling is the only a la carte one, but it is a super handy tool for any remodelers out there because you can actually kind of show what you're going to do before you do it.
I mean, the alternative is to hire an architect at $250 an hour to do it, and that'll take them like 10, just like thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah, and with the case of virtual remodeling, all we need is a photo of the space, a sketch from you, and kind of the materials and the design. But, we're
Right.
not a
I
design
mean, because
company.
normally AutoCAD, they have to put it in Rivet or something, and they got to mess with it. I mean, it takes hours at $100 and at hundreds of dollars an hour, so it's thousands of dollars and hundreds of dollars. I looked at and you can pretty much fix anything for a couple $100. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is incredible. And there's different ways of working and there's, what works for one contract is not going to work for another. And that's, I think, what's so cool about it is that you can really adapt it to kind of what you're trying to get out of it.
So let's say I'm a remodeling contractor and I want to use this as part of my sales tool when I'm pitching the client on doing a remodel. How would that work?
How it would work? Okay, so what you would do is start with the vision, I guess, working with your client to get what you are going to achieve from it. And then all you need to do is kind of bring us that vision, if it's a remodeled kitchen, if you can give us all the information about the colors and the different items in the kitchen we're going to be putting in there. We just need a really high quality before shot of what the space currently looks like, those plans, and then we can go from there. It takes about 5 to 7 days. And again, it's a la carte costing, so I'd have to see the job. But what you can do is by the end of it, in 5 to 7 days, you can get a high quality image that you can then show your clients, be like, these are the plans, this is the cost, this is what it's most likely going to look like. Obviously, I think what I love about it is it actually takes the pressure out of when you start making something and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was what it's going to look like. And then you have to pay to fix it, or you've bought a door and then you're like, oh, I don't like that door anymore. It's a really great way to actually kind of try before you buy in the sense where it's a photo. And that's kind of a great way to use it.
Well, what's neat, Alana, is that the normal way people do it, they go in, they use an iPad or something, or Matterport. They take all the pictures of Matterport. Then they have to go in. Then they got to use Rivet, and they mess with Rivet, and they put. I mean, this takes forever, and it's expensive.
Yeah. See, you just pay for someone else to do it. Basically, we just kind of like where you can outsource it to us and it'll save you lots of time.
Because I'm thinking that I know a couple of remodelers who do that, and it's cost them at least $1,000 worth of stuff just to get it done, right? And they have to use their staff and their time, and they've got to take all now. So you don't have to have measurements and that kind of stuff, right? You can just come in and just take a picture. But if you want to give them a visual, because lots of times I think contractors overdo it, take all the measurements, then they put it into Rivet or whatever, CAD program they're using. Then they do a 3D image and they mess with the image. It takes a long time and it's expensive.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily need dimensions, but if you have them, it's always going to kind of safeguard accuracy. So if you can give them to us, provide them to us, amazing, great, but also not the end of the world. We also do floor plan redraws as well. So like, I'm not sure. Like obviously, we look at floor plans all the time. We're in the industry, we understand them more. The average person doesn't look at floor plans or blueprints or builders plans often, so they can get quite overwhelmed when you're presenting them a blueprint and they're just not really like understanding. So we have this really cool edit. It's called floor plan redraws. And what you're able to do is in a really nice, like digestible, digital, pretty way, you're able to actually show what the floor plan will look like. And it's only about $28 on average, so up to 32 for you to get that done. And again, it's such a really easy way for you to present it to your clients, understand it better, and then them have a better idea without having to ask, oh, what room is that? Or like, with blueprints, they are a little bit tricky to read
Now, you
sometimes.
can also, I'm assuming if you're working with a designer, before they buy a bunch of furniture, you can say, well, here's what mid-century modern looks like. Here's what, and you can literally furnish the room in 2 or 3 different ways, and they can look at it and see which they like versus moving the furniture in that, right?
Yeah, so one of the biggest tips I have about virtual staging is when you're selling a property and it's got other people's furniture in it, it really does sometimes kind of, I guess, pigeonhole that house to that style or that type of family. So the cool thing about virtual staging, like staging in any type, is that you almost can make it like a blank canvas. So it's a really pretty way to kind of attract buyers and engagement, but from a kind of a wider net sometimes. So yeah,
Right.
we offer 8 different virtual staging styles. So it could be, yeah, like I said, mid-century modern, it could be contemporary, it could be traditional, it could be farmhouse, the list goes on and on. But it's really cool because, there are some styles that a little bit overlap, but there's also some that are quite different. And
Well,
so if you're trying to approach a bigger market, there's cool ways you can use that as well.
I did notice we just got a couple of rentals that we bought and we're gonna rent them out. We're not Airbnb. And they said, no, you can't have anything red. I mean, literally, at least it'd be very generic because they want to appeal to
Yeah.
everybody to rent it, right? So we thought these red couches are really cool. They go, no red couches, forget the red couches. So it was like my personal taste doesn't matter. What matters is what's going to appeal to the widest audience to sell, whether rent it or sell it or whatever. Your taste really doesn't matter. What you need to do is get as many people looking at it, go, that looks good to me as you can, versus you're not trying to make a statement, you're trying to get it rented, right?
Yeah, and I've also noticed that it is so hard. Like we work with a lot of real estate agents, and I know their feedback is the sensitivity around having to tell a buyer, I think I'm going to do this because so many sellers are like, oh, but like they're so passionate about it, and it almost takes, yeah, you kind of need to take that step back, being like, no, what's actually going to sell this house, and what's
Right,
going to sell it is if it appeals to the widest market, if you can
right.
use some of those techniques in there. So yeah, I mean, we always love a red couch, but it's really interesting they said that that's not going to appeal.
Because it is, when you want to appeal to the widest market, so your taste doesn't really matter. Because
Yeah,
what
doesn't matter.
matters is how many people are going to look at this picture or on MLS or look at this picture on my website and it's going to appeal to. The wider variety, the better. And it's not my opinion that matters, it's what works that matters. And I think same thing in website design. When you're doing web pictures, what you like doesn't really matter. What matters is what is going to get people to call you and want you to do their remodel, right?
Yeah.
And if you have some stuff in there that could, I mean, what's brilliant to one person is offensive to another, It
Yeah.
could be as weird as a poster of Trump or pick one, right? It's like, no, you can't have it, or you can. I mean, it's like, so you got to be politically correct. You have to be sort of milk toast kind of design, so you can appeal to the widest number of people. You don't want anybody looking and go, I don't want to live there because of the purple wall, or pick one, right? They go, it just doesn't appeal to me. And I
Yeah,
think
true.
that's where you can really
And
help because you know what you know as a professional what is going to appeal to the widest amount of people. That's because what you do, right?
yeah, exactly. And almost in a way, like you want your property to stand out. And standing out can sometimes be making it as neutral as possible. So, no political posters, we always want to avoid pictures of like your family, pictures online because one, privacy, but two, that also kind of makes, oh, it is a family house, but we're wanting to buy it for maybe a couple or things like
Right.
that. So you really want to kind of keep it as neutral as possible while also like being like like eye catching. So there's a
I mean,
lot that
because it
goes
is,
on.
it could be families, it could be gay, they could be straight, they could be old, they could be young. I mean, there's who knows looking at the house, right? So you want to appeal to as many of those audiences as you can so they want to come see it. That's the whole mission here, right?
Yeah, and eyes on the property just mean that you're going to have a wider net of people that potentially want to put in an offer, which is obviously what we want.
Right, because I was looking at some numbers and it says it takes 10 or 20 on the average, 10 or 20 showings to sell something. It takes a lot,
Takes a
right?
lot of
And so,
eyes.
and so if you don't have people coming to showings because they like the pictures when they saw it, and everybody makes a decision. I don't know whether they're looking at your website, whether to call you for remodel, they're looking at your house, whether to buy a house from you, or they're looking at your home, whether they want to buy your home or rent your home. It's all the same thing. They make every decision online before they're going to call you or click the button or whatever you want them to do to take action.
Exactly.
And so you're sort of like a marketing consultant in a way, visual marketing consultant, right?
Yeah, I think so. I do think that there is so many different tools that we can offer, which sometimes can get a bit overwhelming. I speak to so many customers, they're like, "Oh, I love BoxBrownie. I use you for this. I wish you did this, this, and this." And I have to be like, "Oh, we do." So, especially with anyone in this industry, I highly recommend like booking in like a one-on-one with myself or our other BDM, Daniela, because we can actually take a look at the marketing you're currently doing and give you some really good strategies to utilize the tools that we have, because at the end of the day we just want to get
So,
more views on your
so I have
properties.
a question. How do you work? Let's say they've already got a web company they've engaged, right?
Hmm.
Do you work with a web company? Do you serve as, I mean, how does that work? Because if you have a website, you have photos, right?
Yep.
And you have somebody's opinion of what those photos do. It could be the owner, could be the the person owns a business, it could be whatever. But somebody has a reason those pictures are up there, right?
Yeah,
So
so
who
we
do you work
typically
with who? Go ahead.
we work with, I guess, with the it's B2B. So we will supply the images and then you guys can do whatever you want with the images. So typically we'll work with the marketing manager, we'll work with the owner of the business, get them the images, and then they can use them in whatever capacity they want. So if they want to use it on their website, they can upload them to the website. If they want to use it on social media or their listing photos, or in marketing campaigns, it's totally up to you guys. The ownership, copyright is all on you guys.
Now, what other thing might appeal? Instagram is like a big thing these days, right?
Hmm.
And so to me, I could take a couple of photos and before I run it on Instagram, I could run it by you and modify it and have better shot at Instagram, right? Or any social media.
Absolutely. There is something to be said about really like crisp, good photography. It really does make a difference online. And if you are, posting and it's $1.60 just to get the photo like lightly touched up. And when we say lightly touched up, we never mean to mislead with any of the edits we do. Obviously, virtual renovations and renders are two ones where it doesn't exist in both capacities, right? So
Right.
they're ones that we really kind of use as a tool to kind of make the buyer fall in love with. But in terms of the photos, we never mean to mislead. So we're not going to edit it to make it look like this amazing, amazing spot when,
People do that with their photographs all the time, right?
yeah, and we
I'm
don't want
really
to do
not
that.
28, I'm 58, but I look 28 on
Yeah,
my photos.
exactly. Exactly. There's no like catfishing going on with these photos. What we want to do is when you're there in real life, it looks a certain way. And then when you take a picture, it sometimes doesn't look that way. We just want to show what it actually looks like in real life. So it's getting the lighting correct, getting the walls straightened, getting the wall color that comes through properly, making sure that it is as appealing to as many people as possible.
So, I mean, I'm obviously AI is helping you guys out a lot. What's the history of your
No
company?
AI. We have no AI. So
You
it's
know
all
who they
human
are?
editors. We
All human
are a
editors?
human-based company. So every edit you do, except for our AI copywriting, which it's quite clear on, it's touched by a human. And I do think that actually helps because we're able to kind of ensure the quality that we hope to kind of give out every time.
So give me a little history of BoxBrownie. How did they get started? Just curious.
Yeah, of course. So our co-founder Brad, and if you follow on our YouTube page or our socials, you'll see Brad's face pop up from time to time. He was a real estate photographer, and he was basically going out and shooting all day, and then having to go home and edit all night. And he was like, "This is not sustainable. There has to be a better way." And then he got thinking about it, and he was like, "I can't be the only person in this boat." So he kind of created boxbrownie.com with our CEO and other co-founder Mel, and they basically built a business that is designed to make everyone's life a little bit easier. We started in Australia and then we moved over to kind of did a conference in the US, and it went absolutely gangbusters because there's so much need for it over here. The reason why our customers love us so much is our turnaround time and our cost. We try and keep things as quick as possible and as cost effective as possible because we know the industry
You're the
standards.
Amazon of photography. I can see it now.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe like the Jeff Bezos, Brad's here. No kidding. But yeah, so we really, really do try and kind of be everyone's kind of secret weapon, in the sense that, you never know. You can, a lot of people still use their photographers, and then there'll be one thing that's missed, or maybe they want to do virtual staging afterwards, or they need a floor plan. So
Or
we
a
try
big
and
thing
be as
is,
comprehensive as
a lot
possible.
of people, since they're contractors, and I'm sure your photos on your website could be. Every time I look at a website, oh my God, I say you're only your worst picture, right? So you go
Yeah.
to a website and people are really, oh my God, these are amazing, or not, and that takes about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
don't have that amazing first impression on your website, they're going to go to the next remodeler, builder, or whatever they're going to go to. And now with what you've done, it's so inexpensive to fix it. It doesn't cost thousands, it costs hundreds to fix it, right?
Exactly. And as well, like when people are doom scrolling through houses, they're scrolling through, it takes about 3 seconds for someone to decide if they're going to click on a listing, right? So if they're scrolling through, they're going to look at it, they're going to look at maybe the first three photos, and if they like it, they'll click on it. If not, they'll keep going, right? So you
Right.
have only 3 seconds to capture your that attention. They're not looking at the text, they're looking at the photos. So really, you have 3 seconds to wow. And if that's the difference between a few nice photos, because it doesn't matter if you're taking them yourselves, we have this app that's going to help. Yeah, I feel like these days there's so much technology available that there's bad photography is almost like, I'm not gonna say there's no excuse, but there's no
It's
excuse.
I mean, not that cost. If it's, if you have to hire a photographer, pay him, $2,000 to stage it and do the whole, that's expensive. If you pay
That's
a couple hundred
expensive.
bucks for somebody to do the whole thing virtually, it doesn't matter because they're not gonna, you just want to get and make the appointment. You don't care what the damn house looks like, right? You want them to click on it and come see you. And then
Yeah,
you can talk to them in person. It's all about how do you get them there, whether it's you're selling
exactly.
them for remodeling or you're getting to sell a house or whatever. It's all about getting their interest from the photo. So this, so
100%.
um, Alannah, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
You guys can absolutely just shoot me an email. So my email is, do you want me to just say it?
Go ahead, say it
Or
and
we put
spell
it in
it
the
because
notes.
people may get this
I'll
wrong.
spell it. Yeah, so it's ALANNAH period SILVA at boxbrownie.com. You guys just shoot me an email. I'll send you my calendar invite. We can kind of have a one-on-one together. Like I said, we do not discourage anyone if they are taking their own photos. I just think that we have tools that can make them better. And if you have a photographer, I still think there's things that can be done. So I'm looking forward to working together. But yeah, I just think of it as like a marketing consult from like the photo side. And
Yeah.
it'd be either myself or
A
Daniela.
professional marketing consultant can fix everything for hundreds of dollars. That's what I look at. Like, that's amazing. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm free, so
There you go. That's awesome. Oh, good. I appreciate that. That's perfect. Thanks, Alana. I appreciate you being here. I think this is something that everybody should look at your website, and if anything looks like it could be better, you should give her a call.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if you don't think it could be better, I'm sure I can find a way to make it better.
That's probably true. Thanks, Alana. I appreciate you being here.
Bye, guys.